Violet, do you have a moment?
Hey, Mom. Sure, what did you want to talk about?
Daniel is moving back into his old room.
What? He is?
So you genuinely had no idea that your husband was moving back in with his parents?
I'm on the bus on my way home from work right now. Did he give you a reason why? He didn't tell me anything.
Well, if you're really unaware, I guess there's no point in beating around the bush. I'll tell you myself. He said he wants to divorce you.
Divorce? But why?
Oh, and don't bother trying to contact him. He says he never wants to speak with you again.
What is going on? He's never said anything to me about a divorce. I can't believe he would do this without talking to me first.
I'm just telling you what he told me to tell you.
Okay, well, I'm gonna try and contact Daniel myself. Daniel, what's this about you wanting a divorce all of a sudden? And why would you up and move back into your parents' house? If you had an issue with their marriage, you should have told me. Is there something wrong? Answer me, Daniel. I know that you're reading this. Don't you have anything to say to me at all? Daniel, answer me right now. Daniel, what is wrong with you? You don't even have the courage to give me the divorce papers yourself? You had your mother bring them to me? She said that you want to finalize the divorce by tomorrow. Daniel, what is going on? You suddenly moved out a month ago, and today I hear, through your mother, that you're willing to leave me the house if I don't ask you why you're divorcing me? We still haven't once had a face-to-face discussion about this. Will you really not even talk to me? Just once? I get that you're serious about the divorce and you're not willing to try and work things out, so I'm not going to put up a fight. But I'm hurt and saddened that you won't tell me why. What on earth was that?
Violet!
I mean, I'm the one who said I wanted a face-to-face conversation, but our divorce is going to be finalized tomorrow. Why are you crawling into my bed in the middle of the night? I could smell alcohol in your breath when you hugged me. Are you drunk right now?
Violet! Please, Violet, I have one last request. The last request I'll ever make to you.
What is it?
I'll never ask you for anything ever again. Please, hear me out.
Hear you out? You spent the last month refusing to speak to me, and now you want me to hear you out? Our divorce is already a done deal. What could you possibly want to tell me now?
It wasn't my idea. I don't want to divorce you.
What are you talking about?
My brother came back home.
Your brother? The one who ran out of the house after a huge fight with your dad 15 years ago and hasn't been heard from since?
Yeah. He somehow found out about my dad dying 3 years ago. When he came back to our house a month ago.
Wait, I think I remember you telling me about him.
My mother was always obsessed with him, giving him anything he wants, and he's a reason for my childhood trauma.
And now he's back at home? Wait, are you saying you're divorcing me has something to do with your brother?
They took my phone away from me for the last month.
What?
A month ago, my mom told me to come to the house immediately, and that it was an emergency. And when I got there, my brother was there. See, it brought back my trauma. I had a panic attack, and while I was incapacitated, they took my phone.
What about your job?
When my mom called me, she told me that I should bring my work computer along, because she needed to be with me for a while, so I did. They've been taking turns watching me to make sure I didn't try to contact you. So, for the last month, I haven't been able to communicate with anyone unless it's for work. And they've locked me in the house.
That's unbelievable. Why are they doing this?
My brother's after the money I make on my freelance projects. When he found out from my mom that I'm married and not living at home anymore, he decided to make me divorce you so he can keep me there and live off my income. And Mom is teamed up with him.
Your mom is a part of this? But you've been paying her $1,500 a month for as long as I've known you. Why is she doing this?
Like I said, she's obsessed with my brother. He's the only one she loves. She only ever saw me as someone she could use to finance her lifestyle after my brother left home, but now he's back. And they're planning to use me like an ATM from now on, so they don't have to work anymore.
Daniel.
Sorry to bother you with such a downer story. I know it's an important time for you at your company, and just being promoted and all, and it's partially my fault for not being able to stand up to my mom and brother for this last month. If you say you want to divorce me, I'll understand, but if it's not too much to ask, then please, Violet, could you give me one more chance?
Can I ask you something first?
Yeah, go ahead.
First, who signed your name on the divorce papers?
Huh?
It looked like your handwriting.
Oh yeah, the divorce papers. I don't have any evidence, so I can't say anything for certain. But I think it was my mom. Her handwriting has always been similar. She could probably fake it easily.
Okay, got it. Next, your childhood trauma is what's kept you from standing up to your brother for the last month, right? If that's true, then I'd like an explanation for how you were able to get out of the house and come see me tonight.
Right. First, my brother bought a bunch of beer and was having a drinking party with my mom. But then all of a sudden, they started forcing me to drink can after can after can. I had no idea what the occasion was, but I was just playing along with them at first. Then when they passed out, I saw my chance to escape from the house, and I took it. When I took back my phone and checked your messages, I saw that you had agreed to the divorce.
Is that why they were celebrating?
Yeah, I think so. They had been monitoring me for a month, so I bet they were pretty excited that their scheme finally paid off. This was the first time I'd heard anything about the divorce, so I hurried as fast as I could to call a taxi and tell you the truth.
Ah, so that explains why you were acting excited and also the alcohol in your breath. I guess they were unaware of how big of a drinker you were. I bet they didn't expect you would outlast them.
Right. My brother left the house when I was still a minor. And I've never really done much drinking around my mom. The only person I ever drank with was my dad. He was my only ally in the family, and he's gone now.
Wow, I see.
Yeah, sorry about startling you like that before. It was the first time I'd seen you in a month, and I kinda got overwhelmed by emotions.
It's all right.
Do you believe me, Violet?
Well, you've told me about how awful your brother was to you a bunch of times over the years, and I can see for myself how your mother's favoritism has affected you. So, considering that, your story does make sense.
Thanks, Violet.
I'm sorry too, Daniel. I knew about your past, but still didn't have enough faith in you to resist the divorce. I lost faith in you once, but I won't do it again.
That means a lot to me, Violet.
Also, by the way, this is all pretty sudden and bizarre, but you should probably lay low for a while.
Really? Why?
I'm coming over to you to tell you the details, but for now, let me just say that we have a lot of work to do tonight.
Okay, gotcha.
Violet? Are you there? Where's Daniel?
Good morning, Mom. What's the matter with Daniel?
He's gone! I thought he passed out drunk with us last night.
Did you have a party?
Yes, we did. We were celebrating that you finally agreed to divorce Daniel after a long month of hard work. But I woke up just now and Daniel is gone. All of his things are gone too. Even the computer he brought over here for work. Do you have any idea where he's gone, Violet?
Can't say I do.
You may be divorced, but you were still married for years. You haven't heard anything at all from him?
You know we haven't met for a whole month.
Yes, but regardless.
Why would he come here? He's the one that wanted to divorce me, isn't he? Or maybe he didn't really want to divorce me at all, and he was somehow trapped in your house for the last month. Maybe he came here to tell me the truth about everything. Is that the possibility that has you so nervous?
That's a completely ridiculous story. He hates you so much that he couldn't bear to meet you, and he had me deliver the divorce papers for him.
If that's true, then there's no point in contacting me like this now, is there?
Well, I suppose you have a point. Oh, what am I going to do? Where in the world did Daniel go? Violet! You moved?
Huh?
I just came to the apartment you and Daniel were living in, but a new family was living there.
Oh, right. I was already planning to move for my job at the time, and I guess when I think about it, the divorce came at a pretty convenient time for me. That's all. It's a simple story, really. But this all happened months ago.
Oh, this is terrible.
What's terrible?
I've been searching for Daniel for months, and he just called me the other day saying he's cutting me out of his life.
Wow, he is?
He stopped sending me the usual $1,500 a month. I've had to really tighten my belt now. I guess I have no other choice. That boy is of no use to me anymore. Violet, you can marry my other son.
Excuse me?
This is your responsibility. Daniel was your husband and he's gone and vanished. I'll organize a wedding at the local courthouse for this Friday and you can move in on Saturday. Understand?
Yeah, that's not happening.
You have no right to refuse.
I'm married right now.
You what? You're already remarried?
Sorry, I need to make an important phone call now. I'm gonna have to leave this conversation.
Oh, don't you dare! If you're not going to support this family, who will?
Daniel, I just heard from your mom.
Wait, she contacted you instead of me? Maybe it's because I told her I was cutting her out of my life.
She told me that I have to marry your brother and support them. What a total weirdo.
She did.
As if I would ever agree to that, right?
Yeah, not a chance.
I'll go ahead and cancel the contract for this phone as soon as possible.
Right, I'll do the same for mine.
Are you at the bus station right now?
Yeah.
I'll be getting on my bus soon. I should probably go. I'll call you when I get off.
Awesome. I'll be waiting. Take care.
Thanks, Violet. I'll see you soon.
The truth is that I moved out of the state for my job. I never divorced my husband. He simply made a request to his company to make his temporary work from home arrangement a permanent one, and they accepted. After getting a few things taken care of, he joined me over here. As for his mom, since she got greedy and tried to steal all of Daniel's income, she ended up losing the $1,500 he had been sending every month. And since Daniel's brother refused to leave the house, she had no choice but to go and get a job herself. But there's more. Daniel's brother only came home because he was running away from a loan shark, but he got found. I'm not sure why, but when they came for Daniel's brother, they took both him and his mom with them to their black site in the city, where the two of them are now on the long and hard path to repaying his debt.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.
Harriet, what's going on? I heard that you and my son won't be coming to our house for Christmas this year. Is that true?
Oh, good evening, Dad. Well, yes, it's true. Curtis and I talked about it for a while, and we decided that we would spend Christmas at home this year instead of going over to your place.
I don't believe this. Why would you go and do a thing like that?
Well, haven't you seen the weather reports? We're supposed to get a once-in-a-decade blizzard on Christmas Eve. A lot of the stores around here are already announcing that they're not going to be open for either the 24th or the 25th out of fear for their employees' safety. It's pretty serious. We just feel like we'd rather not take the risk and go visit you guys on another day instead.
I cannot believe what I'm hearing. You think you're worthy of marrying into our family with an attitude like that? I should have known this is what you would be like when you refused to build a duplex with us before you and Curtis got married. Not only that, you had the nerve to continue working after your wedding when you should have quit in order to take care of my son's home for him and give me grandchildren. I am so disappointed in you as a daughter-in-law, Harriet. I don't know what that fool son of mine saw in you. Now you're telling me that you're not going to come to my house on Christmas because of a little bit of snow? It's not like you've never seen the stuff before.
Dad? Have you really not noticed how much it bothers Curtis when you say things like that to me? I'm sure he's talked to you about it before and told you to back off.
Excuse me?
And for the record, it wasn't me who first came up with the idea to spend Christmas at home this year. It was Curtis.
That's not true!
Also, Curtis was the one who first came out against your proposal of building a duplex together, not me. And once again, it was Curtis who encouraged me to keep working at my same job after getting married. He's been very supportive of me and my career aspirations.
What a load of nonsense!
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm actually out of town on business at the moment, so I'll be taking my leave.
What? Your company sends the women on business trips? Don't they know you have more important things to be doing at home?
Well, Curtis and I both share housework duties, and I'm the person in charge of this region, so...
This conversation isn't over. We still have a lot of things to discuss, Harriet.
I have to get up early tomorrow morning, so I'm going to bed now.
Harriet! It's precisely this bratty, rebellious attitude of yours that made me oppose you marrying my son in the first place. I always told Curtis that he made an unbelievable mistake in marrying you instead of Charity. They've known each other since they were kids. They understand each other. They grew up in the same town, share the same culture. They're the perfect match. What was that imbecile thinking, choosing you over her? My only wish is that there was some way for me to get him to divorce you. How I'd love to be able to look Charity in the face and call her my daughter-in-law.
Mr. Wainwright, are you there? It's an emergency.
Oh, if it isn't my darling little Charity. Are you trying to get in touch with Curtis? At this time of day, I'm pretty sure he's at work. Can I give him a message for you?
No, this is about Curtis. He's been taken to the hospital.
What? What in the world happened to him? The hospital?
Curtis and I were going to meet up for lunch today. I was at the cafe waiting for them to arrive, and I saw Curtis across the street coming toward me, right? When all of a sudden a car drove straight through a red light and ran right into Curtis.
Oh no, that's terrible.
It looks like more than one person was injured in the crash because 2 ambulances arrived on the scene a short while later. I was on the scene, so I volunteered to go to the hospital together in the ambulance Curtis was loaded into.
What hospital were you taken to, Charity?
It's Western General Hospital, the one on North Franklin Drive. Please, Mr. Wainwright, hurry over here as fast as you can.
Got it. I'll tell my wife we'll be there soon. Harriet, what do you think you're doing? Exactly when are you planning on coming to see Curtis at the hospital? In all the time he's been here, you haven't come by to see him one single solitary time. Have you no shame? Don't you feel any responsibility to be here with him? Let me state this as simply as possible. Your husband is in the hospital, Harriet, and you, his wife, have not come by to see him a single time. Are you insane? Not only haven't you come by, you haven't even tried to contact him. He could have died for all you know. Oh, but not to worry. While you've been shirking your responsibilities as the wife of my son, Charity, a superior woman to you in every way imaginable, has been coming down here almost every day to visit him and check up on his condition. Every day that goes by, you make me more and more convinced that I'm right. Charity would make a far better wife for Curtis than you ever could. Hello there, Charity. I'm terribly sorry to have shouldered you with the burden of looking after Curtis for us. The restaurant we run is very small. There's only my wife, myself, and a few part-time staffers. If we're not there to handle things, then we'd have to shut it down, and we obviously can't do that. If our restaurant were a bit closer, then we'd at least be able to stop by from time to time, but unfortunately we're on the opposite side of town.
It's fine, Mr. Wainwright. Don't worry about it. After all, I'd do anything to be able to spend more time with Curtis. This is like a dream come true.
I'm glad to hear that. You know, Charity, you really are one fine young woman. Generous, caring, self-sacrificing. Nothing at all like that heartless, soulless, worthless Harriet.
Speaking of Harriet, do you know what's going on with her? As far as I can tell, she hasn't even come by the hospital once to see him.
I thought that was the case. I can't even get in touch with her. She won't answer texts or calls. Her parents have already passed away, and I don't know the contact information of any of her other family members, so the only thing I can do is wait for her to respond. There's no other way for us to figure out exactly what the hell she's doing. But since she's his wife, I assume she's his emergency contact, so there's no way she doesn't know about his accident. Seriously, what is wrong with that girl?
You know what I think? I think she's using this as an opportunity to do what she's always wanted to do, but couldn't because Curtis was around. You know what I mean?
What?
Curtis is so ridiculously trusting of her. No matter how many times I try to tell him about her, he's just like, no way, Harriet's not like that. She would never do that to me. It's pathetic. I mean, think about it. Not only has Harriet not been over here, but she hasn't even gone back to their house yet all this time.
Wait, really? You're sure? Wow, I should have expected that was the case, but to hear that it's actually true is too sad to bear.
Don't you think it's time we made our move and got them to divorce? I mean, it pains me so much to see Curtis pining after such an unfaithful wife.
Yes, Charity, you're exactly right. The time has come. It's time that my son got the wife he deserves. You! Hello, Harriet. I'm writing to let you know that I've talked it over with my wife, and we've decided that you do not deserve to be married to our son. Not only have you not come to the hospital for the entire time he's been hospitalized, you're off doing who knows what in who knows where, and haven't even been back to your house. Furthermore, you have yet to respond to or even read a single one of my messages. As such, we have determined that the only way forward is for you to leave. You're going to divorce my son as soon as possible.
Hello to you too, Dad. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get back to you.
There you are. I suppose once I brought the D word into the picture, you realized I meant business. But you're too late, Harriet. There's no changing my mind now. My decision is final.
Let's back up a bit, shall we? First order of business. I've been staying in the exact same hospital as Curtis this entire time.
What? Wait just one moment. What do you mean you've been staying at the hospital? As in you've been renting a room nearby?
No, I mean I've been hospitalized. I was the other person injured in the crash involving Curtis. And the driver who ran a stoplight.
You were?
It looks like you're under a massive misunderstanding, so allow me to explain things from the beginning in the simplest terms possible. First, I was in the intensive care unit for the first few days of my time in the hospital. I've been cleared to leave the ICU and am now in a regular room, so I was finally able to get my phone repaired recently, which was heavily damaged in the crash. It just came back to me yesterday, but I suffered some serious injuries to my hands, so I haven't been able to type by myself. The messages that are being sent to you right now are being written by a friend of mine who came to see me today, as that's the only way I would be able to reply to you.
But that doesn't make any sense. If you've been here this whole time, why hasn't Curtis said anything about it? He's had ample opportunity.
Yes, well, there's a very, very good reason for that. Charity, who's been clinging on to Curtis like a fly in molasses since the time we were dating and sees me as her mortal enemy, has been in the room with him every day and practically never leaves his side.
What? Charity?
It also seems as though she's invited herself to stay at our home while she's here. If she knew that I was here at the same hospital, there is no telling what she might try to do to me in my current state. So he thought it would be best for me to just keep quiet about it. I asked the doctors to transfer me to a different hospital to avoid this problem, but they said there was no way they would be able to safely transfer me in my condition. So we went with Plan B. I asked the doctors to instead transfer me to a private room within the hospital and leave a standing order to refuse visitors without express permission from me.
That's...
By the way, the only reason I'm able to reveal this all to you right now is because Charity's parents have also arrived and they're keeping tabs on her for me.
What? Her parents?
I understand that Charity, when Charity told you about the accident, she told you that another driver ran a red light and struck Curtis as he was walking, is that right? But that's not what really happened. No, the truth is that while Curtis was waiting for the pedestrian stoplight to turn green, he was pushed from behind into the road, and that's when he was hit by that car. So the car wasn't at fault at all, it was the person who pushed him.
What? You mean someone was essentially trying to murder Curtis? Who was it? Who's responsible for this? I'll see to it personally that they're brought to justice.
It was Charity.
Charity?
In her defense, it seems that she was just so happy to see Curtis that she started sprinting towards him, and when she wasn't able to hit the brakes, she rammed right into him. Charity's on the small side, but an adult running at that rate of speed was enough to push Curtis off balance, so he fell face first into the road.
That's unbelievable!
There's more. I was actually with Curtis at the time of the accident.
Oh?
And because we were holding hands when Charity pushed him, I got pulled into the road right alongside him. I don't think what happens next needs any explanation, so I'll just skip that part.
Yes, I think I get the picture.
As for what happens next, I'll have to talk with Curtis about the details, but we're planning to file a police report.
A police report? You mean you're pressing charges?
We've been contacted by multiple witnesses who were there the day of the accident, so there's really no escaping this for Charity. She's the one responsible for what happened to us.
I see.
That's all the time I have to speak to you today.
What? What's going on?
Nothing, it's just that the friend who's typing these messages for me has to go to work tomorrow morning, so she's going home now. My intention was only to clear up any misconceptions you may have had about what really happened. We can discuss the more minor details at a later time, so we'll have to continue this conversation another day. Good night.
Charity, I just spoke to Harriet. She told me about what really happened. If your parents are taking charge of you, I suppose you won't be able to respond to any of my messages. I can't believe it. It wasn't a car running a red light. You just rammed into Curtis so hard that he fell right into the road. I had such a hard time believing it that I talked to your parents directly, and they confirmed that everything Harriet said was true. And to think I was trying to get Curtis to marry you. I had no idea you were such a psychopath. Oh, my dear God in heaven, this is absolutely terrible. Harriet, what's the meaning of this? Curtis said he's going to legally change his last name to yours? He even sent us a letter declaring that he no longer wants to have anything to do with us. He's disowning us as his parents. Please, Harriet, I'm begging you, you've got to talk to him. Do something about this. Talk some sense into him. Please, Harriet, Curtis is my only son. I was planning on having him take over the family business, but now he's disowning me? What am I going to do? Look, I'll accept your marriage to my son. I'll accept you as my daughter-in-law. I'll accept you as part of the family. I'll even allow you to keep working, and you can go out of town on business as much as you'd like. Oh, and I'll also compromise and have you and Curtis do an 80-20 split on the housework. So please, you need to convince Curtis not to disown us and get him to reconsider changing his last name. He can't just get rid of his last name. That's my family name. When she read the letter, my wife was so shocked that she fell down and threw out her back. Harriet, answer me, please. I'm begging you. Give my son back to me, Harriet.
Soon after Charity's parents took custody of her, the friend who had been coming to the hospital to check on me stopped by our house to see what state she had left it in. I was not entirely surprised to hear that every single thing that had anything to do with me had been damaged or destroyed entirely. There was more than enough for my friend to realize that we would no longer be safe in our own home, cleaned up the mess, and removed all of our valuables to a safe location. Additionally, she's also arranging for an apartment to live in temporarily until we can find a new house. Now, since Charity obviously has no money of her own, her parents ended up footing the bill for all the money she owed us to repair the damage she caused, as well as moving expenses. As I told my father-in-law, we also submitted a police report and are pressing charges against her for breaking and entering, property damage, assault, and a litany of other crimes. We won't be settling out of court with her under any circumstances. We're seeing to it that she's put away for a very, very long time. A few months after that, Curtis and I were finally released from the hospital. The same friend who helped us find a new apartment also assisted us in restarting our lives in a new location, including helping us secure jobs similar to what we were doing before at her company. Faced with the unmoving determination of his son to abandon the family business, his father made the heartbreaking decision to simply close down the restaurant that he had worked all his life to build into a successful venture. As for us, however, we finally found peace in our new lives away from all the deeply troubled people in our past.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.